Hey boys and girls, I am going to go ahead and record our second geography lesson, which is on South America. So in order to do this, you're going to need a few things. You are going to need your fact files from the previous geography lesson, the one where you wrote fact files. Okay. You're going to need, out of the baggie, you're going to need these notes that say one continent, South America, and you're going to need this map that looks like this. Okay. All right. So once you have those, then the other things you'll need to gather are your scissors, your glue stick, and your crayons, and a pencil. Okay, so let's get all of that situated. All right, before we get started, I would like you to use your glue stick. We're going to go to the, I'm trying to grab my glue stick. Oh, here it is. We're going to go to the very next blank page. So, yesterday we did our continents and ocean notes, and then our world map. So we're going to go on to the next page, the back of the world map, the very next blank page, and we're going to glue in our notes. So let me switch over to my document camera, I think. Not that. Okay, here we are. So, again, Mrs. Medved was silly and did it sort of a terrible way, but how did I do it yesterday? This way. All right, so we're going to glue our notes in. All right, and then, you know, I was going to have us cut this. Well, we can go ahead and cut it. It's quite a large piece of paper and we don't need it to be so big. But what I'm going to have you do is just cut around it. Okay, you do not need to cut along the edge. We're just going to glue it onto the page, but it's a little bit easier to do if you're cutting it so it just fits better on the page. It's funny to watch me do this, I think, on a screen. Okay, so it should now, if you just cut around it in a rectangle, cut around it so it's easier and fits easier in there, and then you're going to glue this on this page. Okay, so now we have our notes and our map glued in. So if you need to pause this and get caught up on that, that is just fine. I am going to head over to my notes, I hope, and then get here. So that I know, oh no, that's right. Okay. So let's do it this way. Okay, so we're going to fill in our notes and talk about South America as we go. So one continent, one of the 7 continents is South America. So if we look back at our map from yesterday, you can look in your notes or you can look up here, but you can see, remember we had Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. There were 7 of them. Well, one of the continents is South America. Okay, so we have 2 continents that sound very similar. We have North America and South America. And the reason this one is called North America is because it is north of the equator, most of it, and it's north of the other continent, which is South America. So the North America is in the northern part of our world, and South America, most of it is in the southern part of our world. So we're going to go ahead and fill in on our notes. Let's see if this, there we go. Okay, so in here, we're going to write with a capital letter, blank America is another continent. Now, you could put North in here, but we're not talking about North. We're talking about South America. So capital S-O-U-T-H. Okay? So South America is one of those 7 continents. And again, anytime you need to pause it, you can. There are a lot of countries in South America. So the continent is the whole big piece of land. And then the continent is divided into many countries. And each country has its own government, and it has borders that make the edges of the country. And they have different people. They often speak different languages. So 3 of the countries on this continent are Brazil. Brazil is this large country here. Peru, which is over here. And you learned about Peru last year when you learned about the ancient Incas. And then also Chile, which is here. It is a very long and skinny country. It almost looks like a crocodile. So we have Brazil, Peru, and Chile. So let's look at our notes, and we're going to write in the country name of Brazil. So Brazil is capital B-R-A-Z-I-L. Brazil. That is one of the countries that's inside the large continent of South America. So then as we look in South America, it's not on this map, but in South America there is a very, very famous river called the Amazon River, and it's a very long river. And along the Amazon, there are many, 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 many different kinds of animals and also fish. And it makes it quite an interesting place. So the Amazon is a famous river in South America. So let's look at this. The blank is a famous river in South America. We're going to write the Amazon, and this is not where all of our stuff comes from. Amazon, the company, is different. But there are lots and lots and lots of different things they sell at Amazon, the company, which is probably why they named it that, because you can find so many animals and things in the Amazon River or around the Amazon River. So we have Amazon, A-M-A-Z-O-N, river, R-I-V-E-R, okay? And that's a very famous river in South America. And then our last note today is talking about a mountain range in South America. There is a mountain range that goes along this western side of South America. And you heard about them last year, the mountains last year, when you did talk about the ancient Incas. And those are the Andes Mountains. The Andes Mountains are where the ancient Incas made their home. And that is in the western part of South America. So the Andes Mountains, that's their name, so that's why mountains is capitalized, and we're going to put Andes right here. Now, all of these places are really, really neat, and I encourage you to get some books on these countries and the continent of South America to learn about some more information, okay? So now what we're going to do, boys and girls, is we are going to go ahead and label our South American continent with some of the countries. So, as you can see on the screen, we have 3 countries that we're going to label on our continent. So let's get back to our photo and let's go ahead and we're going to label it. So we said this big country right here is Brazil. So capital B R A Z I L. Whoops, my L got a little out of control. Brazil. One really interesting thing about Brazil is that most of the countries in Central and South America, most of the people speak Spanish. But in Brazil, they speak a different language called Portuguese, and it is from the country of Portugal. So that makes Brazil sort of unique in that they speak an entirely different language. Okay, now if you need to pause and do that, you can. Okay, the next country we're going to label is this country right here. This is the country we talked about that had the ancient Incas. So we're going to capitalize the P, E, R, U. This is Peru. And then we're going to label that really skinny one down here we said looks sort of like an alligator or a snake. And I really don't want you to write in here because it's really kind of hard. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to write the name Chile out here. And we're going to draw some arrows to it so that we know that this country right here is Chile. It's hard. It would be really hard to read if we tried to write it in there. So the last thing you're going to do is you're going to color just these 3 countries for me. And you're going to study your notes, which means you need to read through them. You need to ask questions. You can make quiz questions out of the notes and ask your moms and dads and sisters and brothers, see if they know. And they can also turn around and do the same thing for you. Okay? Study hard.